guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is yet another video where I'm going to compare the Glaminatrix Barely Basics palette with the other spicy neutral palettes that I have in my collection. I got a few comments saying, Smithy, can you just compare this palette to the other palettes, the Glaminatrix palette as well as the other palettes, so that we can know if we do have these repeated shades in our collection or not. So I was happy to do that for you. I do have a few palettes from Glaminatrix already. I have the Sugar and Spice palette, which looks like this. Okay, I'm just gonna show you first what all I have. I have Into the Night palette, which is this. This is totally different, but yeah, I just want to show you. And then I have the Rich Romantic palette, which is more like romantic, girly. And then finally the Barely Basics palette, which is the neutral palette from Glaminatrix. Now they have Nearly Naturals palette, right? Nearly Neutrals, Nearly Naturals, the neutral palette from them. That I feel like you need to ask someone who has that palette. I feel like the mauves can be a little similar, but I feel like the greens that are there in that palette is like in between these two shades. And even the mauves, I feel like there's one mauvey pink in that palette. I feel like that's a little more deeper than this and a little lighter than this. And then the deeper maroon shade that is there in the palette, I feel like it's definitely much deeper than that. I feel like other than that, maybe Pumpkin Spice, but that's like a blending shade that you would need in a palette. Apart from that, I don't see any similarity. Maybe follow, I do not. Like when I compare the pictures, I do not see it. Let's talk about the palettes that I have. Okay, so first let's start off with the Sugar and Spice palette. So when I see this side by side, I feel like this shade, Sticky Date, this one, the gray shade, might be similar to the gray shade in this palette, which is Share. So let's watch that. I see a tone difference, but is it enough for you? That you have to figure it out. Yeah, definitely I can see a tone difference, okay? So one is like more gray, and the other one has like a hint of like a taupey olivey tone to it, and that taupey olivey tone is from the new palette. Then let's do this brownie shade, which is the deep dark brown shade in the palette, and I'm going to compare that with Looks, which is the deep dark brown shade in this palette. So this is Sugar and Spice, and this is the Barely Basic palette. The Barely Basic palette one is definitely much more cool tone, but similar enough. I definitely can, at my distance, I definitely can see the difference, because this is definitely more like chocolatey brown shade, and this is more like gray, like cool tone gray brown shade. Okay, I really hope that you can see that difference. Other shade that I see is that Off-White, the creamy shade in the palette. So Girl Dinner. And then from this palette, Meringue, but Meringue is like more white. Let me see if I can see it. Like this is Meringue from Sugar and Spice, and this is from the Barely Basic. Actually, like similar enough, I would say. Okay, let's do Nutmeg, this shimmer shade, and I'm gonna do that against Hashtag, which is the rosier tone in the palette. Let's do this. There you go. I see the rosiness here in this shade, whereas in the Sugar and Spice, it's like, it's shimmery, it's champagne-y. Let me just watch it against Follow also from the new palette. This one, because I know that I said Follow is more like champagne-y. Let me see. Like all of them are a little different. Like this is champagne-y. This definitely is more rosy pink, and this is like a true pink. Can you see that? It's the subtle differences. I hope that's clear. Okay, nothing else from this palette. Okay, so this out of the question now. Now let's dive into the Rich Romantic palette. Lover from this palette. Rich Romantic against Holy Grail from the Barely Basic palette. You totally can see that tone difference. Well, let me swatch it here. Like Lover is definitely much more red. Yeah, that's a different shade, okay? Then I wanted to compare this shade. I feel like this is the only shade that is similar. This Charming shade. I'm gonna do that Charming shade against the Viral shade here. Charming. Such a beautiful shade. And Viral. I can see similarities, okay? Like one is more pink and the other one's more orangey, but the shifts are very similar. Can you see that? This, I would say, on the eyes, it might look very similar. Okay? This Rich Romantic shade palette also has a fiery orange iridescent shade. So I wanted to swatch that too. This one, Romantic shade, against the shade FYP, which is the fiery orangey shade here. Okay? But I totally see a difference here. Can you see that? So this is from Rich Romantic and this one is from Barely Basic. Definitely a difference that I can see. You see that? The Rich Romantic shade is it's smooth, it's very like transparent kind of a shade, and the other one from Barely Basic is definitely like a true iridescent duochrome shade. So apart from that, I don't see any other comparison. Let's go into the Night palette, and none of the shades here are similar to what we have in the Barely Basic palette. So those are like the comparison things that I saw in Glaminatrix, I would say. I won't call it a dupe by any means, but again, it's similar, but not so similar, I would say. Okay, let's move into the shades that you were asking. A lot of people wanted to see this against the Cosmic Brushes Neutrals palette. I personally feel there's not much similarity here, okay? Let me hold it side by side so that you can see. Take a snapshot if you want. But I don't see much similarity here. But I'll still swatch the similar shades that I feel it's similar. So let's do Lust, this one, against the Holy Grail, the burgundy shade. This is pretty similar, I think. So let's do Lust and Holy Grail. Yeah, this is similar, okay? Very similar. Okay, let's do this shade Rumor against Leggings. So Rumor against Leggings. Leggings has a little bit more white base to it. Okay, and Leggings is from the Barely Basic palette. Now next shade I would say is, I don't even think it's going to be close. Okay, let's do Neutrals here against the Comment shade. Neutrals and Comment. There you go. Comment definitely is much more deeper and more saturated in tone. Let's also do Radiant, this fiery orangey shade here, against FYP, that fiery orangey shade in that palette. This one. This is this one. Okay, the Neutrals one is definitely much more fiery orange, and the other one is more pink leaning, pinky orange. It's different enough, okay? Okay, let's do Glamorous against Follow. Glamorous and Follow. Okay. And then the greens are totally different. So I'm not swatching this. I feel like these greens are definitely more sagey and these are more olivey, mustardy. What else? Maybe Delicate versus Looks, the deeper brown shade that you see, gray brown shade in the palette. So this, oh man, what happened to the pigmentation? Delicate. I'm gonna swatch it again. Yeah, that's different for sure. The neutrals palette definitely is lacking pigmentation when I'm swatching it for sure. Okay, so those are the comparison shades from the neutrals palette. This was pretty close, but apart from that, I'm like, I don't know, I don't think so anything is like close enough. So that was the Cosmic Beauty Neutrals palette. I also have Melt's Gemini palette. Now I feel like the greens in this palette can be similar to the greens that are there in the Barely Basic palette. So I'm going to swatch that. This side, not so much. I think not so much. Maybe. Like, these are comparative. They're relatives, but they're not like twins. Okay? So let's swatch it and see. Okay, let's do Polka Dot and Cupcake. Okay, the warmer tones in the palette, Polka Dot and Cupcake. Polka Dot, Cupcake. Okay, let's do that again. So I'm wiping my fingers, so don't you worry about that. I'm gonna do that against, what is even comparing this? Okay, Comment and maybe Looks, because I'll do review also for you guys, but I don't think so. Let's see. This thing, and none of them are same. None of them are same. All of them have like the tonal difference. Okay, moving on to the greens. Let's do Mochi. I'm going to do all the greens, all the mattes, this and that. Okay, so I'll do Mochi, Fire OG and Leo. Mochi, Fire OG and Leo. And then I'm gonna straight away do all the greens in the palette. So Scrunchy, Subscribe and Haul. Scrunchy, Subscribe and Haul. I can see it being comparable. Can you see that? Like the tones are there, not dupes, but you might get similar looks on the eyes. Okay, so these were Melt and these were the Glaminatrix ones. One more palette that I felt like you might be thinking that might be similar is the Ensley Rain Groovy Garden palette. So there's no comparison in the shimmers because I don't feel any of the shimmers are dupes to them, but I'm going to compare the mattes in the palette. So I'm going to do Mystic Mauve, Earthy Ember, and what's this, Foxy. So all the warm tones. Where are we doing this? Okay, let's do this. Can you see that? Those three. I'm gonna do that against the three shades, the warmer shades of this palette. Pumpkin Spice, Comment and Review. So Pumpkin Spice, Comment and Review. Comment looks the most similar. Okay, so that's Ensley Rain and this is Glaminatrix. Comparable. Everything else, well, like cousins. Okay, now what? I'm gonna do Dig It, this one, against Looks, which is the deeper brown shade in the palette. Yeah, let's do here. Those two. Okay, those two deeper shades. Hazy Dreams, this one, against the deeper Holy Grail shade, the deeper thing. Where are we doing it? Okay. The last two, not similar. Okay. I don't see anything else. Okay. So those were the comparison swatches that I wanted to do against the palettes that I had in my collection, which felt like might be similar. I still feel like the greens in the Melt palette was the closest that I could see. Sugar and Spice has a little bit of similarity, but not that much. So yeah, I think it's a great palette to have in your collection if you are more into like neutral glam looks. I really am very impressed by the Glaminatrix formula. I never have any issues with them. So you can take the decision yourself, but I feel like these were the palettes that I felt like I was like comparing with a lot of neutral palettes in my collection, and this was the closest that I could get, and I really hope that this was helpful for you guys. Now if you want to see how I achieved this look, then please keep on watching. Okay, let's do another look with the Glaminatrix Barely Basic palette, because I know that you guys were asking for more looks, so I thought let's do that. I'm gonna start off with the green row, because this and this is what I did not use the most. I did use this shade and I did use this shade, so ideally this and this is the one that I'm missing, and even this shimmer shade. Okay, let's dip into the greens first. I'm going to take the shade Hall, which is the deepest green in the palette. I did use the greens, but on the lower lash line, but seemed like it was not that visible when I was editing. So anyways, I have to get ready. I was like, let's give the audience what it needs. Look how stunning that is. I love that green. And I am going to do comparisons. Hopefully you've seen all the comparisons already. Seemed like a lot of people were concerned how it is looking with the other palettes, and so look at that green. That's so pretty. But also I wanted to do comparison of this palette, just so that you guys are aware like how this palette compares to the rest of the palettes in Glaminatrix, as well as the other palettes that I have in my collection. Now granted, I do not have a lot of like all the palettes, but I do have most of them, I would say. So I definitely wanted to bring that aspect also. Let's start with this shade next, and then we'll blend it with this shade. So Subscribe and Scrunchy. Let's take Subscribe now. Just blending the edges of that deeper green. And now I'm going to take this Scrunchy shade, which is that mustardy green shade, I would say. Okay, right there in the crease. I'm also going to take that Scrunchy shade on the lower lash line. These formulas are a lot powdery, so you will see kick up in the pan, so just be aware of that. And I think it's because of these shades, they're very blendable, no doubt, but expect kick up in the pan for sure. Let me show you. I dipped into those greens, and I hope you can see that. Okay, now for the lower lash line, I want to dip into the shade Share that I have not dipped as yet. On the lower lash line, yeah, it's definitely much more gray in tone. Just wanted to see the tone. Totally can see that. Okay, now I want to take that this pumpkin spice shade, this one, just the inner third of the crease, and that's basically like a blending shade, so I might dip into the deeper one too, but this definitely helps me to blend everything together with my skin tone. Just a little bit more peachy. Now I'm going to go into this Comment shade and just put that in the crease, mixing it with that green. Now the only shimmer, I think, yes, we've not used these two shimmers, so let's use that, and I want to blend it with this shade in the outer corners, so let's do that. Okay, I'm going to start off with that Follow shade, which is like a champagne-y shade. It'll be very glam, I would say, if this is used just with those warm tones, even with the cool tones. It'll be amazing. It's like a champagne shade, but with a ton of sparkles, but it's such a smooth shade. That's what I love about Glaminatrix formula. Like, it's sparkly, dimensional, but so smooth. I want to take that iridescent shade that we have not used so much as yet, this DIY shade. What if we use that? I know this will be stunning in the inner corners, but I just want to see. Let's take that. It totally has that green shift coming through because of that iridescent property. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Okay, I'm just gonna melt it all together. Just like that. Going back into the blending brush and then just tapping the edges. Now for the inner corners, I'm going to dip into this FYP shade and just place that in the inner corners just for a little bit of fieriness. Just like that. Okay, let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara. And that's my final look. I really love the way how this also turned out. It's so glam, it's elegant, but it is so beautiful. Like the little bit of shimmer and sparkle that is in the palette, in the shimmer specifically, it's just taking my heart. And the mattes, they blend like a dream. Okay, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, if you have any questions, if you want to see comparison specific to some palette that I already have in the collection that I did not cover, do let me know in the comment section below. I'm happy to do that for you. But that's all for today, guys. If you did like this video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.